This is where you may end up on the night of April 15th, dropping off your income tax returns at the post office to beat the midnight deadline. Doing your income taxes is always a pain in the neck, but it can be a lot easier if you have a personal computer. Today, we'll take a look at some of the top-rated tax preparation software packages on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible by Leading Edge, makers of IBM-compatible computer systems, including word processing with spelling correction, communication software, and Hayes-compatible modems. Leading Edge with over 1,000 service centers nationwide. Leading Edge, leading the way to the information age. Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover developments in computer technology worldwide.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee, and this is Gary Kildall. Gary, I'm online with the IRS here. Now, why would anybody in the world want to be online with the IRS? This is a pretty valuable database. I can get virtually any IRS tax publication downloaded. I can order tax forms, and that all beats sort of going to the IRS office, waiting in line, or calling them up and being put on hold. I can get information here, for example. I'm looking at taxes on selling your home. We're looking at tax preparation software today, though, really, and it seems to me this is the kind of application that might really get people to buy a home computer, wouldn't it?
Well, I think it's one of the components of that
software today, though, really, and it seems to me this is the kind of application that might really get people to buy a home computer, wouldn't it?
Well, I think it's one of the components of that sale into the home. It's very difficult, of course, to sell a computer in the home for just for tax preparation purposes, but the fact is every family has to do taxes, and that program actually may pay for itself and may actually earn you money in the future.
Gary, what about CD-ROMs here? Isn't this a good example for a CD-ROM application? That huge tax code regulations, word searches in there?
You just came up with a new product idea, I think. Well, this is a good example. Online services like this can be replaced by CD-ROMs fairly well, especially when the database itself doesn't change over time, and of course this is a yearly change in the tax laws, so that's a perfect example.
Gary, today we're going to take a look at some of the best-selling tax preparation software to help you decide which program is best for you. One of the newest things is actually filing your tax returns online, and we're going to begin with a report on that.
For most taxpayers, the month of April is not something to look forward to. Preparations for the inevitable 15th day bring to mind accountants, adding machines, and stacks of forms to fill out and mail, even if you're just expecting a refund. This year, there's some good news for certain taxpayers, thanks to the arrival of electronic filing. The H&R Block office in Sacramento is one of a handful across the country that is taking part in a pilot program, allowing taxpayers to file their returns online. At present, only those expecting a refund can file this way, but the IRS hopes to expand the system if it proves successful. Electronic filing still requires a fully prepared return. Once the information has been verified, the return is attached to a special IRS form and taken to Block's Data Processing Center, where it is transferred directly to IRS computers. The software won't look unusual to anyone who has filed taxes. Most screens duplicate the appearance of standard forms and only require transferring names and numbers from the paper to the screen. The operator simply picks the appropriate form from the main menu and fills in the blanks. There's even a spot for the signature, although the IRS wants each filer to sign with pen and paper, at least until the computers offer a foolproof method of identifying signatures. Electronic filing requires less paper and less time in the mail, which means faster processing for the tax preparer and for the IRS. Best of all, it means getting your refund check about 3 weeks sooner.
Joining us now in the studio is your medical deductions and so on.
And now if we go on to the next page, we can go down to the general sales tax, hit H for help, and it'll bring forward from 1040 the adjusted gross income which will help you when you look up in your IRS publication to determine what your general sales tax is. So now, if we hit E for enter and put in $1,000, for example, we can add that as the general sales tax. And now, if we quickly step forward to the home mortgage, say we had a $6,000 home mortgage amount.
So this is an interest deduction?
An interest deduction we're putting in. And now we will just go forward to the end of Schedule A. And we notice that the total deductions are $7,000. The zero bracket amount has been $36.70, and this leaves a net total deduction of $33.30.
Yeah. Henry, can you actually now print out on a form, print the results on the form, or do you transcribe this by hand?
We can print these out on a draft form, which is very useful for making notes. And with the exception of 1040, we can print it out in a IRS acceptable facsimile format. And on the 1040, we can print the numbers in the right place, but the user has to be very careful about getting the form in underneath the print.
Okay, Henry, thank you very much. In just a minute, we're going to be back with a tax preparation program for the Macintosh, so stay with us. With us now in the studio is Susan Morgan, president of SoftView Incorporated, makers of Macintax.
Susan, as we start seeing these tax preparation programs for the home, what impact does that have on the professionals? Do they like that or not?
Some do. The tax preparation packages for the home sometimes can be used for a person to organize, and then they take it to their professional to do the hard stuff. I think the people that use it to do their taxes are people that don't go to professionals anyway.
Okay.
Susan, show us a little bit about Macintax. This is quite different from the program we just saw before, and show us how.
Yes, it is. Now, as you see the forms displayed on the screen, this is the familiar 1040. To enter in, you just point and click and type. Every time I hit return, I'll move to the next field. As I start to type this number, it's automatically formatted like a Social Security, and Macintax understands the different fields. These little check boxes, you just point and click, and it'll give you your X. Now I'll scroll down to a part of the form that's a little more interesting where you enter your money. Macintax will format your money like dollars and cents. The minute I start to enter, it'll automatically put the commas in, and it'll put your cents in. And when I hit return, it automatically computes all totals. So if we go down to the bottom here, you'll see that total has already been computed. Another feature it has is it lets you itemize. If I want to
say to yourself, well, then why should I pay $400 for BASIC when it comes free with virtually every IBM PC or clone? Well, the answer's simple. You get what you pay for. That's right, the free Microsoft BASIC that comes with the IBM PC and the free GW BASIC you get with most clones are difficult to work with, bulky, slow, and hard to debug. UX BASIC is basic for the big boys. I first heard about it from a professional software developer, and he agrees with me it's worth every penny of the $400 you have to pay Human Computing Resources of Toronto, Canada, if you want a copy. If you like BASIC, you'll love UX BASIC. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler.
If you're baffled by the new W-4 form from the IRS, there's a new software program out called W-4 Helper that guides you through the form. The program catches mistakes and projects the amount that will be withheld from your paycheck. The Michigan State Treasury Department has installed a new computer to answer taxpayers' questions about the status of their refund. Punch in your Social Security number on a touch-tone phone, and the computer, through a synthesized voice, gives you a status report on your return. The mayor of Prescott Valley, Arizona may not be too happy with computers this week. A hacker got into the town's computer system and erased all the town's financial records. Remember the moral, back up, back up, back up. And the president of the University of Charleston in West Virginia is now writing security, security, security on the blackboard. He opened up the school newspaper one morning to find copies of his private correspondence printed in the paper. Some hacker apparently broke into the university's computer network and lifted the personal files. Finally, a professor at Rutgers University says elementary school students should no longer be taught cursive writing, handwriting. He says there's just no room for it in the curriculum. Professor Edward Fry says children should be taught to write in block letters in the first 2 grades and then should be taught computer keyboards in the 3rd. That's it for this week's Chronicles. We'll see you next time.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible by Leading Edge, makers of IBM-compatible computer systems, including word processing with spelling correction, communication software, and Hayes-compatible modems. Leading Edge with over 1,000 service centers nationwide. Leading Edge, leading the way to the information age. Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover developments in computer technology worldwide.